Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Yes, this is Jason, the Canadian YouTube personality. Of course, wearing my shirt from Cuba. My family went there 2 years ago. Very thankful. Also, I'm known as Jason Cosmic RSSP Authority. My present subscribers, I'm sure they know RSSP, what that stands for by now. But you newbies out there, stands for the real secret space program, way up there in space and way deep in space. Millions of miles is represented by my beautiful, powerful photo in the infrared. It says, infrared photograph of one of the gigantic cylindrical objects taken by the Hubble all the way in the rings of Saturn. I got to talk about this photo whenever I do videos from my place, my friends, because of the profound implications that this photograph has. You talk about amazing technology, my friends, and that is staffed by U.S. naval officers. I'll tell you why in a moment. We can know that, my friends, okay? But in this video, we're going to talk about the CIA, my friends, and exposing some of the shills for the U.S. intel agencies that they put out there, these CIA puppets, my friends, the dirty players. And we're going to talk about why I think it's so important to shun these dirty players, my friends, okay? So this photograph, you know, there's been a lot of different commentary on how big this object is, but it's real, my friends. This isn't Photoshop, right? This is in the infrared. That came out in 1986. Again, pictures from the Hubble telescope. There's more than one. The Voyager spacecraft also took photographs. They've been measured at about about 1.5 miles to 2 miles or more. There's different measurements, but and we can know, my friends, that is staffed by U.S. naval officers. There's several reasons. First of all, the Navy's all about building an organization of craft, right? Your fleet-to-fleet aircraft carriers, fleet-to-fleet submarines and ships, etc. And in this case, we've got fleet-to-fleet USOs that come out of the oceans, my friends. Unsubmergible objects. Absolutely. And cigar-shaped craft are actually the second most common shaped of UFO behind flying saucers, my friends. Except the ones this large, of course, they're released at nighttime. All right? Absolutely. And on the patches, my friends, the military patch for the Navy now, more people are realizing it says Naval Space Command. So they've got an amazing, major presence in space. Absolutely. And as I've always said, my friends, NASA is just a cover for the NRO and the Air Force space programs. And the NRO and the Air Force, they're a cover for a more highly classified covert space program. You guys know the next guess, right? You got it. It's the Navy, my friends. Absolutely. And we know it because Billy Carson, my buddy, my friends, who owns his own space company called First Class Space Agency, he tells you the cigar-shaped craft deep in space, so this is what he means, they're millions of miles deep in space. He says they are supermassive objects the size of small cities, and they are staffed by U.S. naval officers. And he says that's a fact, my friends. Absolutely. Okay? I just wanted to get that out of the way. And by the way, my friends, Thomas Berggren came out with the photographs in his book. Thomas Berggren just died at 94 years old, so God rest his soul. But this guy worked at none other than Lockheed Martin. And you guys know I focus a lot on the defense contractor Lockheed Martin. We have to, my friends, if we want to unpack the truth on the real secret space program. But, you know, Thomas Berggren said it was extraterrestrial, my friends. That shows you the disinformation in this field. It's off the charts, right? It absolutely is, my friends. But we can know it's U.S. naval officers. You see, the defense contractors, my friends, they always try to spin it for ET. You know, it's crazy. But before we go on, we're going to talk about the CIA, my friends. Just a quick reminder, if you guys do think I have a lot of value to share and give, and think I have a lot of value to give to humanity, if you appreciate my intellectual honesty and me trying to be bold, honest, open, and true, because my intentions are genuine, my friends. And if you guys just enjoy my videos in general, please don't hesitate to subscribe. Give me the thumbs up. Of course, feel free to share my videos and leave a comment if you want. I read them. All right, absolutely. And I thank all my present subscribers. I know with your support, we could take this channel to the next level, my friends. As I've always said, I believe the real secret space program, it is the most important subject of our times. If for no other reason than these amazing free energy generation propulsion systems, my friends, that has allowed the covert military civilizations to go all over our solar system. And the moon and Mars, that means as well, of course. Absolutely. And again, my friends, once we get our divine right to this amazing spiritual dynamo technology, because that's what it is. It comes from the ether of space, the 0-point energy, my friends. That's why it's our divine right for the whole world to have it. It will get us off stinky oil and gas right away. It has the potential to end poverty in about 10 years or so. And you won't need a centralized utility bill, my friends. No. So let's do it, my friends. We can do this, okay? We're starting to unpack more truth on the real secret space program. It's a multifaceted, complex subject with a lot of moving parts, right? Yes, it is. And, you know, I think it gives us a great stage, my friends, to be able to, you know, when we talk about the real secret space program and what's going on, the activities of these covert military civilizations, we're talking about large factions of the U.S. leadership and government. And we see the cycle of disrespect, my friends, from the U.S. leadership and government, how they've been treating the public, particularly on these issues of the real secret space program, my friends. The UFO flying programs, the trillions of dollars that are stolen out of U.S. taxpayers' pockets, right? That means it affects my beautiful people, my beautiful, powerful country, Canada, my friends. They use all these covert economic crime cash flows, and again, trillions of dollars stolen from taxpayers to build the infrastructure for UFO flying programs, my friends, for all this off-planet investment. Absolutely. And so it gives us a great stage, my friends, to understand the amazing technology. Because that's the great thing, my friends. It's a clean alternative energy. It's a revolutionary non-Plutonian physics we're talking about, my friends. Anti-gravity. Okay? I've got it into the technology in past videos, and we're going to do it again in future videos. All right? But let's get into the CIA, my friends, because the CIA are intimately integrated in the UFO file, unfortunately, with the UFOs. Oh, and by the way, speaking of the CIA, I think I have a CIA troll on my channel, perhaps. It's a guy. He only has one subscriber, and he says, "My shirt's so wrinkled, it must come out of a tomato can." He has nothing positive to say. Well, this shirt may be wrinkled, but I think it's one of the most powerful YouTube shirts out there. And this may be one of the most powerful YouTube channels, my friends. Because look at these powerful photos. And of course, this one behind me. But these military patches, my friends. As I've said before in other videos, and I'll keep saying it because it's so important. When the military makes a patch, that resembles a real program, my friends. They don't make military patches for things that don't exist, okay? They may make things that are unacknowledged, but not for things that don't exist. And if you go to Google, my friends, you can Google all the different stealth patches, okay? And the researchers will show you the symbols and what they mean. Because the military often encrypt secret symbols in the patches, my friends. So if we can elucidate or decrypt the symbols in the patch, you start to understand what goes on in a program, my friends. So important. And they're counting on us to be too dumbed down or have too much willful ignorance, right? Or just not to be interested. But I've made it my life goal, my friends, to penetrate this black budget technology for us, my friends. Okay? And my buddy Michael Schratt, the great aircraft aerospace historian, he's trying to do the same thing. Okay? And a quick shout out to my buddy Joe from the Carolinas. Joe, you're killing it with your videos. We're loving it. You're doing great work. You know, Joe and I, we orient our purview of research, sometimes our line of research a little differently, but with the same goals. You know, he loves to get freedom of information requests for his primary sources, which is great. And I try to collect the data points more and look into the covert side more. Okay? We did an amazing live stream, by the way, guys. If you want to check it out, I think one of the most powerful, electrifying live streams possibly, even though my lighting was horrible. It was done over 6 months ago, and I think we've had over 2,400 views. I had a blast. Joe said he had a blast as well. We had great questions from the chat page. Of course, Joe asked me some great questions. So I challenge you, Joe, let's do another live stream together and rock it. Okay? We can do it. And get thousands and thousands more people interested in this topic. Because, my friends, we have got to change this. Where we got to change it to where the real secret space program is not just a fringe subject. This is the most important subject of our times. And I believe the most fascinating subject, man. I mean, and again, my friends, you see these vector triangles? I can't even keep up with all the military patches of the triangles, my friends. There's so many of them. They've got vector triangles for the Mir space station, for the Russian military patches. They got one's triangle for China, very similar triangles, my friends. And I'm telling you, they put it right in front of your face, my friends. This resembles the amazing black triangles that we have in our skies, my friends. We have a proliferation of them. And I showed you guys on past videos that Lockheed Martin are the prime contractors, I believe, to these amazing exotic aircraft, my friends. Absolutely. These massive black triangles. Okay? And I'm the only researcher that I know of, other than one other person, who has connected it to those military patches, my friends. It is the triangles. But when you Google the stealth patches, you won't find that, ironically. Nobody else has put it together, but I have, my friends. And that's on the Space Force, as I showed you, and on NASA, okay? So, let's get into the CIA, my friends. Let's talk about, first of all, the inception, when the CIA started and why. CIA was created in 1947, of course, when Truman created the National Security Act, all right? And you had the 47 and 49 Act. With those provisions, the Financial Stabilization Fund was set up, of course, and you had the CIA funding moving in. And that's when, my friends, they set up the critical train tracks, eventually of an unedited open flow of cash flow to go to private corporations, my friends, and to hide a lot of this technology, okay? But why did Truman create the CIA, my friends? Well, in the National Security Act, I think the impetus was they wanted to get that vast, unfeathered access to this amazing, Nazi wealth, extreme amounts of wealth, my friends. We're talking basically trillions of dollars in 1945 money. And a lot of that money was circulating through the International, Bank of Settlements, the Bank of Switzerland, so on. But the Americans got a lot of that wealth, Nazi loot, my friends. Absolutely. And I think part of the other motivation for Truman creating the National Security State and the CIA, it was to get a handle of the UFO flying programs, my friends. Because there's no question, those brilliant Nazi German scientists had sort of set up the first epic human project in terms of researching, testing, and ultimately curating amazing UFO technology, my friends. They absolutely did. They continued that on after the war, most likely in Argentina, continuing on their black projects there. And the Americans, my friends, the American military, they wanted that UFO technology. Absolutely. But here's what happened, my friends, right? 3.5 to 4 years later, Truman regretted his decision for forming the CIA. He had consternation, was befuddled, because he knew that the CIA were doing covert operations in the United States and abroad, my friends. And nowhere in the documents did it say or allow them to do that, my friends. But by deference, they did, with no restrictions whatsoever, and they did to the tunes of billions of dollars, my friends. And we know, my friends, the CIA have done many, many insidious activities. You got MK Ultra, of course, where the CIA didn't even tell us for many, many years. They finally had to own up to it many years later, my friends, right? They were doing horrendous brain experiments on kids, on adults, of course, people, against their will, my friends. I won't even get into all the details of MK Ultra, but you can know, of course, we all know that anyone knows anything about it. It was just absolutely despicable on the CIA's part, my friends. Now, I always want to add a qualifier, my friends. There's still good people in the CIA and the NSA and the NRO, the intel agencies, my friends. But when you've got an agency and these shadow groups, my friends, that have consolidated way too much power, when you've got this much secrecy, too much secrecy breeds corruption, right? And we know the CIA is unconstrained and out of control. Particularly in the last few decades, my friends. But even shortly after 1947, Truman basically was saying it was a rogue agency that was already going out of control. Because he also said, that it was a mysterious, sinister force that is casting a shadow on our position of historic freedom, my friends. That's what Truman said, my friends. He knew what was going on. He knew the unacknowledged special access projects and these covert programs were just they were just going crazy, and the presidents, they're never told this. So you can understand Truman's frustration. So that's when the CIA was created, my friends, okay? And now we're going to get into some of the CIA puppets out there, my friends. How the US government, they put out certain individuals, and I'm sure groups as well, but we're going to talk about some individuals, and we're going to talk about a marketing merchandise scheme from the CIA. You ready? Are you ready for my cacophony, cavalcade conversation on this issue, my friends? Here we go, because I think it's so important. One moment. Here we go, my friends. How about Stephen Greer? I did a whole series on this guy. I always say, you know, you get a lot of comments. He looks like an alien, doesn't he? Just kidding, Stephen. But look at this guy, my friend. He's sitting in front of Washington. If you know his message and what he says, and just look at him, my friends. If this guy is not a CIA puppet, I don't know what is, man. My friends, this guy spins it for extraterrestrial all the time. He keeps saying there's all these other intelligent civilizations coming here, right? ET extraterrestrials, and that we have to make peaceful contact, right? What's his whole story? Remember, 15 years ago, he's been at this serious disclosure business. Here it is here, my friends, right? Here's the CIA marketing merchandise scheme that Greer is the front man for, right? It's an absolute CIA marketing merchandise scheme all the way around, my friends, because they spin it for ET. Absolutely, that's the CIA's mandate, my friends. Just look at their behavior, okay? It says, watch Unacknowledged, now available on iTunes, first edition hardback and ebook available. You know, they've got CDs. My friends, you get very little truth. Again, the U.S. leadership and government, they're not even courageous enough to stop with their bullshit of this ET nonsense. So they put out a guy like Stephen Greer to try to confuse and distort reality, my friends, and lie to you. He's lying to you. There's no other intelligent civilizations coming here visiting us. I always say, let our cosmologists and astronomers, people with noble intentions on trying to find other life out there in the universe, my friends, let them do their jobs, okay? And I think we will discover microbial life in our lifetime. We're on the cusp of this generation, my friends, to finally find out, are we alone or not? And I think it will be microbial life. We got a good chance. And that'll be a game changer in itself, my friends. But I think to find, really intelligent life similar to us, even in our galaxy, I think that's a long shot, but we can't give up. But now, they put out this guy for 15 to 20 years. And his story is, he goes on a beach, right, for these EC5 initiatives, which he still does. And he's getting government officials all over the world to participate. And he keeps saying, right, he wants citizens to get together so that they can make peaceful contact, in other words, with extraterrestrials, and so that we can end the hegemony of secrecy on covert programs, right? My friends, Stephen says some truths. Okay, he does some good work talking about the secrecy in the corporate intelligence communities and structures. That part I agree with him. And he does admit that some are man-made UFOs. He doesn't use the correct term that it's military UFOs. As I've always said, my friends, I will never vacillate from my conviction that it's all military UFOs. But then, my friend, Stephen Greer makes these outrageous, ridiculous proclamation and pronouncements trying to convince you that extraterrestrials are coming here, my friends. And you know what? I think there's an insidious agenda behind it, my friends, because we got to ask ourselves, who is Stephen Greer working for, my friends? And why is he pushing this ET bullshit out for 15, 20 years? Do you realize, my friends, he's had 1.6 billion people approximately watching this garbage on Netflix, my friends. Absolutely. And as I said in my series, who's he working for and why is he doing this, my friends? Well, I mean, basically, if you listen to Stephen Greer, my friends, come on. He basically tells you he works for the CIA. He's a CIA puppet, my friends. And he's being used for perception management. Remember, he brags, for example, that he debriefed Clinton's CIA director, right? And Clinton's CIA director would make phone calls and he could never get the information on the UFO flying programs. He builds up the CIA almost like they're heroes. I mean, you'll never hear Greer talking about the skeletons in the CIA's closet, right? He's just ridiculous. Oh, by the way, speaking of the skeleton CIA's closet, my friends, Kevin Shipp, he's a former CIA guy, okay? He was formerly in the CIA. He's a good man, my friends. See, here's an example where you do have good people that are in the CIA, some of them. And Kevin Shipp, my friends, he's got a book out, I think it's called something Shadow Government. And he tells you that, you know, if the CIA were to explain some of the things that they've done, just some of them, you would have to shut down Washington, D.C. and fumigate the hallways, my friends. Absolutely. And MK Ultra is just one example, my friends, right? And we know the CIA have done horrendous murders all over the world. And who do we think is behind John F. Kennedy murder, my friends, right? Who's got the fingerprints on that murder? We know it's the CIA. Anybody who's looked into that, even Dark Journalist, has done some good work, and he'll tell you the same thing, my friends. Okay? You know, my point for doing this video today, my friends, really is to tell you guys and show you that we need a whole new awareness campaign and realize the impact of the CIA in particular, my friends, and all the U.S. intel agencies. Okay? Because, my friends, here's an example. Bill Scott, who's the former editor of Aviation Technology Space magazine, he's more connected to anybody in the aerospace companies publicly, my friends. And they have told Bill Scott, the black, contractors out there with the defense contractors, and they've told my buddy Michael Schratt that for over 50 years, that in the supermarkets, you see these crazy stories where they'll often discredit actual UFO sighting the day before of one of our programs, one of our military UFOs, my friends, and they'll try to spin it for ET. And this is from the military-industrial complex and the CIA. And so that's worked for 50 plus years, he was told, my friends. Yes, this is what's going on, my friends. We've been obfuscated from the truth on this amazing, again, free energy with these UFOs going all over the place, my friends. We've been obfuscated from the truth for 60 plus years. I keep saying it, my friends, because it's so important and so true. I mean, 60 plus years, are you kidding me? This is how long the cover-up's gone. And so they get guys like Stephen Greer. And one of the other ridiculous statements, so when Stephen Greer was doing his EC5 initiatives, my friends, 15 years ago, he even tells you, and he still does it to this day, he shoots up lasers in the sky, and he gets groups of people, I think he charges them money, and all these people, they shoot lasers up in the sky, and we're supposed to believe that Stephen Greer is vectoring in ET. Can you believe it? This is the story, my friends. Again, because the U.S. leadership and government, my friends, the people that Greer works for, and I believe it's elements of the CIA, no question, they're still not courageous enough to explain away the cover-up honestly, my friends. So they spin it for ET, right? Because I'm telling you, my friends, once the United States leadership and government, once they try to explain away the cover-up honestly, they've got to explain away, of course, stealing exorbitant amount and using exorbitant amount of resources for the UFO flying programs again, my friends, and all this infrastructure, right? They got to explain away stealing trillions and trillions of dollars, again, from U.S. taxpayers' pockets that affects millions of people around the world, my friends, right? We've got a secret classified endowment of trillions and trillions of dollars that's just disappearing down a black hole. And we're going to do videos again on the missing trillions, my friends. I'm going to really break it down for you guys, okay? But that's what's been happening for decades, since 1947, my friends, when they set up this huge hidden secret system of finance, right? And, since the 80s and 90s, it's gotten even more out of control, okay? I mean, we're talking $21 trillion, for example, missing since 1998, my friends. Yes. Catherine got that hard figure with the help of Professor Skidmore at the University of Michigan. Remember, he had about 18 to 19 of his graduate students. They were going through all the documents in the U.S. federal government, and they got a hard figure of 21 trillion. And that was reported worldwide, my friends, missing since 1998. And that's even a low number. Even though that's an extraordinary amount of money, that doesn't even include other elements in the federal government, my friends. That was just from housing and urban development alone. I mean, just extraordinary. And now with the bailouts of the banks, my friends, Catherine's estimated we have over $50 trillion in assets shifted out of North America, right? And the question is, where is it going? And if you guys watch my video, my live stream with Joe from Carolina 6 months ago, I think he titled it Secret Space Program Culture, Controversial Interview. All right? And you also see big letters come up, it'll say live transmission. Because my buddy Joe, he's sitting in what looks like a UFO doing a live transmission with me. It was hilarious. It was great. But we talked about that, my friends. Even Joe asked me, where do you think the $50 trillion is going? All right? So, my friends, the CIA, they put these shows out. Now, the guy I just told you about, of course, was Stephen Greer, in this whole serious, unacknowledged access bullshit, you know, CIA scheme, marketing scheme. Well, who are some other CIA puppets, my friends? Well, how about Tom DeLong? Now, this guy was not a staff CIA or anything, but he's involved with the CIA and Lockheed Martin, right? The phony Lockheed Skunk Works disclosure with the TTSA to the Stars Academy. Remember the presentation? If you guys haven't seen the presentation, you might want to check it out. I mean, you talk about another CIA marketing merchandise scheme, my friends. In a lot of ways, it's very similar to Stephen Greer's CIA marketing merchandise scheme with the serious disclosure. This is a total orchestrated strategic distraction, my friends. And here they are using a burned out rock star in Tom DeLong. They allowed this guy to go on skiffs, specialized compartmentalized facilities, and none other than Lockheed Martin, my friends. Yes! And I'm saying to myself, are you kidding me? Talk about distorting reality, right, my friends? And distracting the public. They let a burned out rock star go in some of these compartmentalized secrecy structures over at Lockheed Martin. I'm asking myself, why aren't you guys letting somebody like me? You know, I'm one with noble intentions. I'm trying to penetrate this black budget technology and try to provide transparency and truth for us, my friends. But that's what Lockheed Martin did, my friends, in the CIA. And so they got Tom DeLong spouting off all his ridiculous pronouncements, you know. The guy doesn't even make sense half the time, my friends, and he's lying and everything else. The guy went on Joe Rogan show. Remember that huge podcast with Joe Rogan? Rogan asked some very good questions often with his guests, and he asked some very good questions with Tom DeLong. And we all know, my friends, Tom DeLong totally bombed. He sounded ridiculous. So they dropped him as the spokesperson now. And now, so now they're running around with, where did he go? Oh, Luis Elizondo, the former counterintelligence officer, right? A former staffed CIA guy. On the presentation, my friends, they had a whole bunch of them. They're all retired CIA officials and people that worked at Lockheed Martin. I mean, it's crazy. This guy is trained to lie, my friends. And I caught him in bold-faced lies. And Dark Journalist did a very good job exposing this guy. And my buddy Joe from the Carolinas, he did some really good videos on the TTSA as well. And it made it very entertaining as well, talking about DeLong and briefly Elizondo. I mean, my friends, this guy, I can respect him in one way. In one way, he was a good American patriot. He fought wars in candor. I can respect that, and I do. But my friends, when you lie to millions of people, just like Stephen Greer did, on such an important subject, here's the tic-tac-toe UFO, this ridiculous infrared footage from jet planes that were chasing a UFO. They don't tell you jet fighters, you know, have been chasing UFOs for decades. I mean, come on. But when you lie to millions of people, because Luis Elizondo, my friends, he tells you that he actually had the audacity to say, when talking about the UFOs and the tic-tac-toe UFO and everything, he was saying the technology is not in the U.S. inventory. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is why I get so exasperated, my friends. He knows that the U.S. are ahead when it comes to the UFO file. He knows they've got massive UFOs and USOs, as I said earlier, coming out of the oceans, my friends. He knows Lockheed Martin are the prime contractor for a lot of the black triangles, for example. This guy has to know, my friends, and he would know it's trans-international. I mean, come on. He knows Russia and China have their secret space programs. But my friends, with the TTSA, do you notice they never talk about the real secret space program? There's no discussion at all about the real important issues, my friends, like the real technology that the U.S. has, right? They don't talk about the missing trillions, the theft of trillions of dollars from U.S. taxpayers. They don't talk about, in other words, the black budget, my friends, which the United States have a significant off the main path black budget, of course, this black budget space enterprise that is just off the charts, my friends, okay? Where do you think a lot of that $21 trillion, went missing since 1998, my friends? I'm telling you, a lot of that is for the UFO flying programs and to build the infrastructure underground in our under ocean facilities. This is another reason why, my friends, it makes sense that those massive cigar-shaped craft deep in space all the way in the rings of Saturn, the reason why it makes sense that the Navy is in charge, by the way, my friends, I meant to say this, is that even Catherine Austin Fitts, the financial expert that's looked at the covert side, she even tells you, if you look at the mining stocks, the last few decades, my friends, the behavior of the mining stocks, many times they're not mining gold, silver, base metals. They're mining under ocean facilities. Absolutely, my friends. Okay, it's a great place to hide. Now, back to Luis Elizondo, my friends. Can you believe it? This guy says the technology's not in the U.S. inventory. When you lie to the public like that, my friends, you're selling your soul. In my opinion, he has absolutely sold his soul. Tom DeLong has sold his soul with his nonsense. I mean, come on. This guy made almost $1 million, by the way, for a few years working on the TTSA. Must be nice, huh? Talk about outrageous. And we're going to do a whole video maybe one day on Bob Lazar. This guy's a joke, my friends. I believe he was just a disinformation agent. Again, he was distracting millions of people for years. They just did a documentary on Bob Lazar, my friends. Don't get caught up into it. Don't buy into the bullshit and the lies and the nonsense, my friends. This guy claims he worked at Area 51. I say, well, even if he did, who gives a shit? This guy even had the audacity to say that when he saw the UFOs in the hangars, that they weren't just a mock-up, that they were actual extraterrestrial craft like from another star system. I'm like, are you kidding me? How the hell would he know? He knows nothing. And when he tried to talk about the technology, you notice he never talked about plasma. He never talked about rotating nuclear plasma under electromagnetic stress. I mean, this guy knows dick all. I mean, come on, excuse my language, my friends. And believe me, we'll be talking about plasma, my friends, and the amazing physics that are involved with those black triangles. We're going to do a whole series on them again. But Bob Lazar, he's just a joke. And George Knapp was the famous journalist, remember, my friends, that admitted he pushed hard for Bob Lazar to go forward with the story. So not only has Bob Lazar sold his soul, I believe George Knapp in a large way, my friends, even though he's done some other good work, I believe he sold his soul largely because he knows damn well he shouldn't be putting out a shill like Bob Lazar. And you notice, my friends, George Knapp, as far as I know, he never talks about the missing trillions. He doesn't discuss the black budget. And Bob Lazar and George Knapp, my friends, they're right in Las Vegas during the 80s and 90s when all this was going down, and with Bob Lazar's ridiculous stories, my friend, in George Knapp's backyard, Las Vegas, where all the trillions of dollars were being stolen. The financial fraud was on an industrial scale back then, my friends. And of course up to the present too, but I mean, it's just ridiculous. So it's a shame. But my friends, here's the thing. We've got to talk about these guys, my friends, and we've got to talk about them intelligent, using discernment, right? We've got to shun the CIA dirty players, in other words, my friends. And the reason why it's so important is if we want to grow and develop ethical leadership, my friends, we've got to shun the dirty player. You know, there's a little book I want to get by, I think his name is Axelrod somebody. He's a brilliant economic advisor. And it's titled The Evolution of Cooperation. And he talks about the power of the human race to be able to shun someone behaving badly if they can see it. In other words, my friends, if you're an ethical leader and if you're competing against an unethical leader, particularly if an unethical leader can kill with impunity, think CIA, some of these other groups and agencies, my friends, then the ethical leader is going to be always at an extreme disadvantage, right? And if you're an ethical leader and you want to survive, you're going to have to use wit. However, if you can show the crowd the dirty player, then the ethical leader will always win, my friends. That's right. And that's why, my friends, the CIA, elements of the NRO, the NSA, the deep black program contractors, elements of the Navy, Air Force, my friends. They want to put out these guys they're trying to distort reality, my friends. They've been doing this for decades. They try to distort reality. They, again, orchestrated strategic distractions. They put out these ridiculous companies like the TTSA, all these CIA guys, my friends. You can't trust a word they're saying, right? Again, you just know the behavior of the CIA, my friends. Know the mandate. It's the mandate of them to lie, deny, and deceive at the expense of American taxpayers, my friends. And unfortunately, elements of the CIA, my friends, we know they've done damage to millions of people. They've created a lot of heartache, depression, and sadness and anxiety for a large group of people in this world, my friends, with their secrecy, with their insidious agendas and their activities, my friends, right? And the depth and breadth of the corruption with some of these shadow groups is just unbelievable, my friends. It's so corrupt. And so we've got to fix that, my friends. And we, the public, the rest of the world, my friends, we've got to ask the right questions. And we have to change our behavior, my friends. Because again, we see the cycle of disrespect coming from the CIA, elements of the United States leadership and government, right? And so, my friends, if we want to grow ethical leadership, you know, we have a huge group of society in the developed world, my friends, that are living on an unsustainable basis, right? And they're perfectly happy to let people die outside the developed world so they can live on a continue to live on an unsustainable basis, right? So the question is, my friends, how do we change that model? How do we change it to have a global model so that we all can live sustainably on this planet in a human way, my friends, right? And to do it, we've got to grow ethical leadership. And it's going to be a cultural shift, cultural drive, and we have to make a societal shift, my friends, and get our divine right to this black budget technology, which is our divine right for the whole world to benefit from it. As I always said, my friends, it's going to beautify our planet in ways we can't even begin to imagine, okay? And it will end poverty. It's a clean, alternative-free energy, my friends. Absolutely. So we've got to grow ethical leadership, my friends, and we can do it. We absolutely can, my friends. And, you know, that's why I always respect the late John F. Kennedy. I didn't live in his times, but I discussed him briefly in one of my other videos, my friends, because he was a believer in freedom, right? Sure, he had certain flaws in his personality, as we all do, but he was a believer in freedom, my friends. And an example of that, he wanted a collaborative, multipolar model. He wanted to join nations together going into space, joining Russia and other nations, my friends, which is wonderful. That's beautiful, right? And then he was savagely murdered. And we know the CIA, elements of the CIA were behind that and covered that up, my friends, largely. And a lot of times, my friends, the Americans, they have Nazis boots on the ground to carry out these insidious agendas. Absolutely. Remember, my friends, I talked about those hardcore Nazis at the end of World War II, that whole spy organization under Reinhard Gehlen, basically, that just rolled right in the CIA, my friends. This is real history. Those are real facts, my friends. Those hardcore Nazis absolutely infiltrate the deep state of America. And now we see for decades, my friends, the Americans have run their country largely as a Nazi-esque model. They absolutely have. And the words, you know, the word U.S. State Department, Homeland Security, is that very subtle? I don't think so, right? Absolutely. You know, I've said on another video, my friends, the United States, they literally copied the countdown at Pudimanda, the space program that was going on in Nazi Germany, right? And then the whole intelligence apparatus, again, rolled right into CIA. So they copied, basically the NSA was patterned after those German originals, my friends. The intelligence networks, the intelligence gathering, the intelligence companies. So we got to be aware of that, my friends. And we're seeing their influence, right? Over and over again with these private corporations, okay? And, you know, I always said the Nazis, they were about a multinational corporate state, multinational ruling. They wanted the banks in control. And we see the private banks, the financial groups, and the private corporations, my friends. They are dominating this world. They've consolidated way too much power. And there's so much greed going on. So I think we really have to change that model. And sure, America's still great in a lot of ways. It's a great country, my friends, and there's a lot of great Americans, great citizens. But definitely, it's way too much of a Nazi-esque model. I mean, this is crazy. But this is what's happening, my friends. And You know, again, my friends, we need an awareness campaign over the CIA, and we've got to shun these dirty players, my friends. We've got to show the crowd. And this is why I give credit to everybody in the alternative community that shunned those dirty players in the TTSA, my friends. We showed our power, right? We absolutely did. My buddy Joe from the Carolinas, he did a great job exposing the TTSA for what it is. You know, this scam, this marketing scheme, and these CIA cronies. Dark Journalist has done a good job, great job actually, as well at talking about the TTSA, numerous videos, and Walter Bosley as well. I mean, he tells you too, Luis Elizondo, just because you're not staffed as a CIA anymore, it doesn't mean you're not a CIA contractor. Even Walter Bosley, he's convinced, I'm sure, he suspects that Luis Elizondo is probably a CIA contractor, my friends. So whatever he's spouting, you can't trust a word this guy says. I mean, come on. We can't trust the CIA, my friends. They've been proven to be untrustworthy year after year, decade after decade, my friends. We got to clean these guys up, my friends. We got to decapitate somehow some of these intel agencies, my friends, and get a handle on them. Again, we need to grow ethical leadership, my friends. And again, there are still good people in the CIA, don't get me wrong. It's just largely the agency's out of control, my friends. And one last thing, my friends. I love talking about the Real Secret Space Program, and I hope you guys enjoy listening to my videos because, again, you know, it involves so many different topics, right, when we're talking the Real Secret Space Program. And when we're talking about these covert military civilizations, and now for the whole world to be interested in going into space now, my friends, we're exploring like never before our cosmos, right? And with amazing, sophisticated, powerful telescopes, we're seeing almost all the way back to the very beginning of time, my friends. And I did a video on cosmology many months ago. We're going to do more videos on cosmology in the future, okay, of our glorious, majestic universe. But the Real Secret Space Program, it allows us to have an awareness and you know, be able to explore and search our amazing universe and talk about it, right? And talk about our amazing universe potential, my friends. Absolutely. And again, this involves, you know, when we're discussing what's happening on our precious planet, my friends, and to be able to evolve as ourselves as human beings and expand our consciousness, my friends, we've got to talk intelligent, have intelligent discourse on what's going on with these covert military civilizations, my friends, the good and the bad. And that means exposing some of the CIA puppets out there, my friends, okay? Thank you for being gracious with your time today, my friends. I hope I was able to give a cohesive sort of fundamental understanding of some of the fundamental underpinnings of the CIA and the CIA history and their basically their behavior that we can see to this day, my friends. Okay, we got to change that model somehow, and we got to grow ethical leadership and sustain ethical leadership. We can do it. We can get our power and sovereignty back, my friends, because these shadow groups have rebuked our power and sovereignty in a large way, time and time again, as we know. Okay, so let's get our power and sovereignty back, my friends. Let's live strong and try to be the best version of yourself every day. Try to inspire others to the best of your ability, okay, my friends? And I hope you guys will watch future videos. We're going to do future videos on the Space Force, Donald Trump's Space Force that he's trying to get Congress to pass. It all relates to the space-based economy, by the way, my friends. As I said, we got a push now for the whole world to go into space, my friends, and to be productive in space. And it's going to take a collaborative, multipolar model, joining nations together. But the Space Force, that's a black budget space enterprise, and it's a Lockheed Martin black budget space enterprise. So we got to be very careful, my friends. They plan on doing a lot more clandestine operations if the Space Force gets off the ground, my friends, and a lot of legal activities, I believe. But we'll talk about in future videos, and we'll do discussions on those black triangles again, my friends, the TR3B. I think you'll enjoy that as well. So stick around, my friends. I hope you enjoy my videos. Please subscribe, give me the thumbs up, share my videos, and again, leave a comment if you want. I read them. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.